begin with a story? Let me tell you guys about a man named John. John was a man who his entire life had saved up for this one event, this culmination event that was going to make his life complete. He did not make much money. John saved for years and years to go on a Mediterranean cruise. Anybody here been on a Mediterranean cruise before? Okay. Was it worth it?
You bet.
Okay, of course it was. This was John. The day arrived that John was ready to board the cruise ship. His luggage was packed. He's like, this is it. This is absolutely it. The day has finally arrived. So John, dragging his luggage up, he's just ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic of the fact that, like, this is my opportunity. And he goes to his room and he opens up his suitcase. And inside of his suitcase, he had his food all packed. Now, like, remember, John was a very humble man, so he couldn't afford a lot of fancy food. So he had saltine crackers and cans of beans. Okay, and he was so grateful to be there. But oftentimes he would look out, he would open up the door to this cruise ship and he'd see people walking by. These people were dressed pretty fancy. And they were headed to these beautiful dinners. And he thought to himself, you know what? I shouldn't be ungrateful. At least I'm here. At least I'm here. But man, wouldn't it be nice to be able to be really enjoying all the things on this cruise? But I can't afford that. It was just enough for me to get here today. And so he continued to look out his porthole at the Mediterranean Ocean. And to him, it was absolutely beautiful. He's like, this is it. This is what I've dreamed of for years and years, is this view. Well, on the final day of a cruise, a bellman came by and said, hey, we don't yet have your request as to which final dinner party you're going to attend. And he said, oh, boy, like his heart almost just like felt overwhelmed. He was like, I would love to attend, but I just can't afford it. And the bellman was taken back a little bit. He said, afford it? You don't understand. The final dinner is included. In fact, everything is included. The whole time. All the food, all the entertainment, it's all been included. John was just beside himself. How could I be here and be so close to having an absolute bigger dream vacation than I ever even thought of, and not realize the fact that I was living well below my privileges? I believe that the real estate industry lives far below its privileges. We show up in a way and we're seen in a way that is not consistent with who we really are, with the opportunity that we really have to serve clients. What do I mean by that? What does that mean? Raise your hand if, as a licensed real estate agent, you help people with quite possibly the greatest investment, the greatest asset that they'll ever own. Like, raise your hand if you do that. Okay. Then how is it possible that you are not seen similar to a financial advisor or a tax advisor or an estate attorney? What they're managing is small oftentimes compared to what you're managing. So here we are showing up as vendors, here to list a house, sell a house, when in actuality what we ought to be able to do and how we ought to be seen in the marketplace is as an advisor, someone who oversees the largest asset that they may ever own. And if done correctly, that could turn into multiple other assets that surpass any of the other investments. So as we look at what does it mean to grow your influence, right? That's the promise of this today, is to elevate your influence as a real estate agent so that you are seen by your clients and by other professionals as having a seat at that table, as belonging in that same conversation as these other advisors. In fact, at such a level that these other advisors are eager and desirous to put you in front of their clients, all of their clients. Can you imagine for just a minute what that would be like? If a tax advisor who has 500 clients, a wealth manager who has 500 clients, an estate attorney who has similar amount of clients, if they wanted to put you, not because you begged them or because you showed up every week at a networking meeting hoping to teach them how to refer you, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your value being so high that they were so eager to integrate you into their client experience. Okay, so what we're really talking about is a path. And we're going to talk about is the path from going from solicitor, meaning eating saltine crackers in the stateroom, to being an integrator, which is fine dining in the main galley, up where everybody's at. Now, as we saw here today, there are countless people and countless different ways to create an incredible business. And how you go about reaching out to your clients is less important as to the influence that you have when you contact them, right? This isn't dissing solicitation. This is the fact that we may have a way to elevate our influence as we come into whatever conversation we have. Is it okay if I walk us through that path upward to where those professionals want to put us in front of all of their people? Okay, let's do it. Let's start with solicitor, right? We all know that when we get started, this is the fastest and best way to get business, period. Because we don't know that many people and we don't have the influence to be able to command people coming at us yet, so we go get them, okay? But let's also be clear that it's very much a numbers game. There's oftentimes, and these are from some of the best in the industry, that there's 1,000 contacts or attempted contacts to get to a sale, okay? The next step up, if we were to say, okay, oh, and by the way, let me go back here. The distinction here is that as a solicitor, we're soliciting to the unknown. They don't know who we are, so they aren't really, they're very skeptical, okay? If you had a choice to get all of your business from your database, if your database were big enough, so you could get all the business you could from people who knew you and immediately wanted to talk to you, raise your hand if you'd be like, yeah, I would prefer to do that. I prefer to do that, okay? I think we all would, but the reality is we just don't know enough people. And what I want to share with you today is that a few relationships around you do know all the people that you need to know, okay? The next step up from solicitor is vendor. Okay, a vendor, the distinction from a vendor or of a vendor is your conversion rate goes to 100 to 1. Okay, so you dramatically increase your chances of getting business from those contacts. And dramatically decrease the number of people you need to talk to because they'll actually listen, right? Now, here's the unique thing is that this group down here, they're go-getters. They get customers, okay? They get paid. But I want to tell you that regardless of how you go about getting your business, there is a way to enter into these conversations with more influence. Let's go into that now. The next step up is a connector. Now, a connector is somebody who's really good at bringing value to other people. And they do it in the form of making introductions to others. Who here has actually added value to somebody by introducing them to a roofer, plumber, painter, right? Was that a more fun and better received conversation than you calling, trying to get something from them, get a listing from them? Like, hey, I have someone for you. It's just easier, right? And it's better received. So that step, that's one step up from the previous, okay? Is that if we can call offering to connect them to value, our influence goes up, okay? The next one is an advisor. I think we would all agree that we are advisors in this room. You wouldn't be here if you weren't an advisor, okay? Now, here's the unique thing about an advisor, right? Is an advisor is not just a liaison to value. If you noticed before, a connector, although the chances or the conversion rate went up from being a vendor because now you're giving value, as a connector, you're a liaison to value. In other words, there's not a ton of value in just an individual conversation with you, but you can sure give a lot of value by connecting other people or that person to other people. The jump here is that as an advisor, you are not just a liaison to value, you're a center of value. Okay? In other words, you can have an advisory conversation with somebody and they say, wow. And you guys heard 4, 5, 6, how many ever number of professionals are up here, truly advisors, right? Truly have reached to that highest pinnacle of influence. Okay? And as you can tell, once again, 25 conversations to get one conversion, because now your value is so high that these people see value in directly working with you. Now, you still connect people, right? You get all the benefit of what's below, but as an advisor, you have a heightened level of influence. All right? Let's move. Now, in fact, let's just clarify here the difference between this bottom two and the upper two. This next group gets really well paid. Okay? Their dollar per hour goes up because they're having fewer conversations to get to the sale. Okay? And not only are they well paid, but they can show up as not just go-getters, but go-givers. Probably many of you have read that book. It's a great book, right? And they're not getting customers, they're getting clients. You guys know the difference? Customers is very transactional, right? A client is someone who you will service again and again and again, and they'll probably refer you as well. Okay? Now, for many, they believe that this is the highest pinnacle that they'll ever go. This is it. I don't know anything better than being an advisor for somebody. This is the top. I'm here to tell you that it's not. Excitedly enough, there is another level beyond advisor. Okay, let's talk through what that is. It's being an integrator. Now, you're probably not familiar with that term. The concept we didn't invent, but the name we did. To help you to understand what this concept is. An integrator is somebody who integrates their service with other advisors. Okay, so for example, as a real estate professional, when you're dealing with people that are moving, that's not the only concern that they have right now. They're going to need other things. They've needed things before they got to you. They're going to need things after they get to you, right? For example, someone may be moving a business at the same time, and they may need some tax advisory help in that process. When we start to think more holistically and say, sure, I can sell them a house. Sure, I can help them sell their house. But what else do they need? And who are the other advisors that I can bring to the table to serve them? Not just connect them. There is a difference. To connect them is just say, hey, here's somebody you can call. When you become an integrator, is that you say, oh, so you're moving. So all those great questions that Tom taught us, like why are you moving, right? All those things. As you uncover those, now you get the opportunity to say, you know what? Do you have an A+ tax advisor? Because it sounds like you're going to need some tax advice here. And if they say yes or no, either way, let's get together with your trusted professional. If you don't have one, I'll bring one to the table. And let's just consult together to be sure that the way that we're positioning the timing and sale of this home is consistent with what your tax advisor would say. If you were a consumer and your real estate professional identified that there were other concerns that were to follow, and they anticipated those and brought professionals to the table, would that be valuable for you?
Yes.
Would that be like, wow, you mean I don't have to go looking for these people or find out after the fact that my tax advisor could have been involved and could have saved us tens of thousands of dollars on this move? Right? Commissions are completely irrelevant now. You're solving such big concerns that your value is far beyond whatever it is that you would have charged. They're not even comparing you to another agent anymore because the other agent is thinking about selling a house. That's what I do. I live in this silo right here and I sell freaking houses. Other stuff? No, I don't deal with that stuff. Right? But if you just stop and say, wait a minute, tell me why. Okay, what? You know what? You know who you should be in contact with? Is these professionals. Let's bring them to the table, right? That's what integrated service looks like. That's what happens when you're uber wealthy, by the way, when you're worth $50 to $100 million, you may have what's called a family office, which is you have professionals on staff who all work together on your behalf. That's why the wealthy continue to get wealthy. In fact, Elizabeth, who's here in the audience today, she didn't know I was going to call her, She worked for a family office. They were worth, is it okay if I share some details of the family? Okay. They were worth about $1 billion when she went to work for them. Right? A couple decades later, they're worth $18 billion. Isn't that amazing? She worked in a family office. In other words, for that family, she helped preserve and grow their wealth. The unfortunate thing is, most families out there in the world that we serve, actually, don't have the benefit of having a family office. Right? And how could they? They don't have $50, $100 million to manage. But we can show up that way, actually giving service that looks and feels like that looks and feels so much different than our competition, that we not only, right, create leaders, or we not only become leaders, but we gain ambassadors. We're so different that it's so easy to talk about us. And we not only are well paid, but we start to experience scale. Now, what do I mean by that? When you think of scale, you think of something that can move beyond what you're able to do, right? I want you to picture for just a minute, you can only have so many client consultations, you and even your team, right? But what if a tax advisor and a financial advisor and an estate attorney and an insurance agent and a lender were able to be talking about your service and, by the way, bringing you back into their client conversations seamlessly, because you taught them how to do this, to where now you're not only servicing your clients and looking for those opportunities and creating complete ambassadors, but you have all these other professionals that are doing the same thing. And they're also bringing you into the table saying, it sounds like you guys are on the precipice here of making a move. Do you have a really good real estate advisor that you're working with? We know some agents. Sure, everybody does, but do you have a real estate advisor that manages your wealth in real estate the way that I manage your wealth in the market? Nope, don't have one of those. Great, I'd be happy to bring one to the table. That's what scale looks like, right? Is that now we have these other professionals bringing us into their client experience. So the big question is, that's pretty cool, but how? How do we get other professionals to want to do that? How do we get started doing that? Because it sounds really cool, but we do have a bit of a journey to go down to get there. I authored a book called The Upstream Model. If any of you are wondering, what the heck does that mean? Right? This is the essence. I was a high-end home builder, and I realized that this was me down here at the bottom, competing with everybody else. As a solicitor, as a vendor, as a connector, even at times as an advisor, I was still competing. And then I had this aha, right? I saw somebody that was upstream from me, another professional. It was an architectural designer. He had all the clients I wanted, all of them. And I thought, how do I get them from him? Because if I keep hanging out down here where everybody else is fishing, it's going to be a crowded shoreline, and I'm going to get scraps, okay? So what I figured out how to do was to get upstream, to get right next to that professional, add such value to them that all of a sudden my competition was learning about the business that I was getting after it was too late. Because I integrated my services with the architectural designer. Just like you can integrate your services with these other professionals. But how do you do that? It's been mentioned up here today already. Russell talked about 80 deals that came much from these life events. Okay, let me walk you through the journey of somebody's life. This is just the average person's life. Okay, follow me along here, or follow along with me here. Right up here we have diploma. Someone graduates from college. Okay, think about the professionals that would benefit by having somebody who they met who just graduated from college. What do we have? Headhunters, right? We've got probably insurance agents. We've got people moving, right? Homes. You guys seeing that how one life event right here, just this one person graduated from college and then getting their first job, multiple professionals would benefit from that. You guys seeing that? All right, they get their first job, they fall in love, get married. Okay, can you think of professionals who would be serving a client at the time of marriage? You guys think of that? Think about some of the professionals. Could be wedding planners, right? Could be, again, tax professionals, financial advisors, helping people get off and get started, okay? We keep moving. They buy their first home. They have a kid or a couple kids. And all of a sudden, a house, that condo in the city that was super cool is not so cool anymore. There's no yard. We got to move, okay? Keep in mind, every single one of these life events is tied to the fact that multiple professionals should be involved at that time. Okay, multiple professionals at each one of those. So every time now you're talking to a client, you're not just looking, can I help them buy a home or sell a home? You're saying, what's the life event around this? Okay, what's the life event? Let's just move through this quickly. Their kid grows up and starts to need help with some college, right? Then at that point, thankfully, they get a job promotion, right? They get transferred. Wife didn't like the transfer. They got divorced, dang it. Financial hardship, back on their feet, growing businesses again. Thankfully, they fell back in love, right? Got remarried. Ended up selling the business, simplifying life, retiring, transferring some assets before they pass on. These advisors that I'm talking about all benefit when they know that one of those life events are happening. So how do we start to actually integrate with other professionals? We start to look and listen for life events. And we teach these other professionals how to do the same thing, letting everybody in that circle know that when there's a life event, multiple people are needed, and your clients benefit tremendously when other people are brought to the table to collaboratively serve them. Okay? Now, I'm going to walk through this quickly. Here's an example of that. An inheritance, right? We have an insurance agent that's needed. Okay? We have an estate attorney. We have a real estate agent. We have a tax professional. We have a financial advisor. The next time you deal with a client who has an inheritance, I want you to think, who else could be needed? Who else could I be bringing to the table? Who else could I be collaborating with? Okay? That's true of each and every life event on that slide that I showed previously, and so many more. Right? There are so many life events that, again, if we start to think as integrators, how do we integrate with other professionals? We stand out and we train them to do the same. But I know what you're thinking. Like, okay, I could do that, but is there a way to do this faster? Can I do this faster than just looking for life events? The answer is yes. Because let me tell you that over the past, I started uncovering this model 20 years ago when I was a land developer home builder. I've been teaching it now for almost the past 10 years. And to be completely transparent, it hasn't always worked as much as I wanted it to. And I began to uncover why. Is that you have tax advisors and financial advisors who do not see themselves on the same level as a real estate agent. I hate to break it to you guys, but they see themselves as being superior to you. I've interviewed dozens of them. And I've actually asked the question, how many referrals do you give how many referrals could you give to a real estate agent? You want to know what the answer was? Annually. How many referrals they could give every single year? One financial advisor. 18. 18. That's, by the way, falling in their lap. Somebody saying, hey, we think we're going to move. Do you know a good agent? That's not them procuring it. Okay? But the problem is when I followed up the next question, which was, how many of those referrals are you actually giving? Like, are you actually giving to a real estate agent? Anybody want to guess what that number was?
2. 0.
It rounded to 0. It was like, I don't do that. And I said, that's interesting. 18 deals. Would that change anybody's life having 18 deals this next year from a financial advisor? Boom. That'd be pretty cool, right? So what's the disconnect? Well, in short, the disconnect is that there's too much risk and too little reward. What they didn't see was the fact that you could actually solve their biggest problem. Do you know that you could solve a real estate agent's biggest problem? Sorry, a financial advisor's biggest problem? One of their biggest challenges is they're the last ones to know when a property sells, when their clients sell a property. Last ones to know. People don't talk to them. They talk to their real estate agent, they talk to their lender. They don't talk to the financial advisor. So the financial advisor all gets wire instructions. We're going to drain our retirement account to go buy a property. And they're like, damn, what? Right? Or they learn after the fact that they sold a property and have been putting the money, $500,000 in a cash account and a savings account. Missed huge opportunity. So we've uncovered a way to expedite this to where they see you as an equal. That's no longer, we're up here, we're the financial advisors, and you're down here. We level the playing field. Let me share with you what that looks like. It's called an expert panel event. Okay, we at Pro Insight, right? That's the company that Don Yoakum founded, for which I'm the CEO. This company, we host expert panels. So we come into a marketplace, Blake in Arizona, we say, Blake, we are hosting an expert panel in your community We would like you to be the agent, okay? The topic is going to be preparing for retirement in uncertain times. We want you to tell us who you would like to be featured with on that panel, these professionals. If you don't know, at least bring the lender. You and the lender will help find the others. Okay, is that interesting, Blake? To be featured all over social media, sent to the very databases of each of the panelists, promoting the fact that you are an expert on this topic. And then, is that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay. So now Blake is becoming an equal in the eyes of these professionals. Okay? He's on a panel. He gets the chance to really audition in front of these professionals and all of their clients. In other words, we've surpassed the need to get these professionals to refer you. We bypassed it. Because the reality is they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it like you want them to do it. You can teach them, we can teach them. We've just found it's too hard. But you know what's not hard is saying, can we give you some publicity as an expert on a panel in your community talking about this topic? You know what they say? Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Here's one that we're doing. You might recognize a face up there. On September 27th, we have 4 panelists. Stephanie was selected by ProInsight to be the real estate agent in her community. And then together with her lender, they found the other 2 professionals. So these 4 will be featured for an hour-long online expert panel event. We will moderate it. We will promote it on social media. We will be sure that they have copy and paste, easy things to send out to all their databases. And now they get featured on a panel. Let me show you, I'll just show you the first part of this.
As a property owner in Clackamas County, have you ever noticed that some have an uncanny ability to grow wealth at a faster pace than others? Have you ever wondered the things that they know that the common person doesn't know? Well, today I'm here to reveal one of those things to you. We call it a wealth advisory team, where professional advisors from different industries come together to collaboratively consult a single household. Now, normally this would only be available to the uber wealthy, but right now we are bringing this experience to you. You see, we've selected some of the top professionals in the Oregon City area of Clackamas County to come together on an expert panel. This will be an online event where you will learn some of the top strategies for preparing for retirement in uncertain times. I'm excited to now introduce to you the selected panel members from Clackamas County, Oregon. The very first member of today's expert panel is a real estate agent based out of Oregon City, serving the entire Portland metropolitan area, yet specializing in Clackamas County. She and her team of real estate agents, a small but mighty team, help almost 100 families a year to make moves in real estate. She's been at this since 2007. And her specialty is actually helping people to grow their wealth through real estate.
I'm Stephanie Peck, your real estate specialist with Peck's Realty Group, and I am passionate about helping people grow their wealth through real estate. I've helped many families do it before, and in this class, I'm going to show you my 3 strategies for retiring, and sometimes even retiring early through wealth building with real estate without using any of your own cash.
The next member of our expert panel is a financial advisor by the name of Mitch Moggenheimer. Since 2005, Mitch has been acting as a trusted advisor and fiduciary. While he serves clients from across the country, 70% of his clients are within 30 miles of Canby, right here in Clackamas, Oregon. Mitch specializes in serving pre-retirees and retirees and small business owners, helping them to actually create a financial plan and strategy to help them to live the life that they want right now and then retire how they want to retire.
I get excited when I have the opportunity to sit down with individuals, pre-retirees, business owners, and we start to really do the planning of what does retirement look like, and get them to tell me their colored portrait of what retirement planning would look like. Then my job is to step in and say, is this reality? What does your savings look like? What does your spending patterns look like? Then we really get to work together, build that relationship, to build really from start to finish that journey of how do I get to retirement? Answer those questions. Do I have enough for retirement? When can I retirement? That's really where I get satisfaction out of working one-on-one with clients.
The next member of our expert panel event is Shannon Horn. Shannon has been a mortgage loan officer for almost 9
You
years.
guys get the point, right? We'll go through all of them. It's a 4-minute video. Everybody's highlighted. So Stephanie sent out one email. Where are you at, Stephanie? There she is. Sent out one email with a video and a graphic. Was it even a video or was it just a graphic?
It was just an invite to the event, and click here if you want to watch the video to learn more about what we're doing.
And what happened from that one email she sent out?
From my database, I booked 2 listing appointments just from sending that email, and it turned out that that client that was in my database also was a client of that financial advisor. So not only did I get 2 listing appointments out of the deal, I now leveled up as an advisor, being in alignment
So the benefit of this, you guys, we all have seen and sent and even appreciate when we get the reminder it's fall season, it's time to clean out your gutters, right? We get that. And there's nothing against that. But does it not make you as common as every other real estate agent out there that stays in contact with their database? How would it be if the information going out from you to your database were showing you as being featured as an expert on a panel on a particular topic, right? This particular client that had 2 listings was preparing for retirement. Oh my goodness, I need to talk to Stephanie, right? So, not to say that all contact your database isn't good, but there is an elevated, influential way to contact your database. And that's just part of it. Is it because Stephanie's doing that with her database, the lender's doing it with his database, the financial advisor's doing it with his database, and the insurance agent's doing it with his database? Thousands of people are getting a personal invitation to an expert panel event. Even if nobody came, which we already have a bunch of reservations, so people are coming. Even if nobody came, business would be had because your influence went up. You're not just a real estate agent, you're an integrator. You're integrated with other advisors who now are able to elevate the level of your client experience. And they're all promoting it. And by the way, we promote this on social media to where your whole freaking community knows that, like, wow, this is the agent who is an expert on this topic with other professionals, right? Which is completely uncommon. So that gives you the ability to bypass the need to be referred because we're putting you in front of this professional's clients. Does that make sense? You don't have, okay, don't you get frustrated when somebody doesn't refer you? Screw them, we don't need them to refer, right? Just kidding about the screw them part. But you get the point, like we can't keep waiting around for people to refer us or get frustrated because they don't, or show up every week for a networking meeting hoping that we'll educate them enough into referring us. Guys, that is too slow and inefficient. But we can have our influence elevated by cross-pollinating, doing events together, and actually showing up as beyond an advisor, which is an integrator, meaning we're integrating with other advisors. So let me take you back to where this all started, is that we are all on the same cruise ship. We're in the same industry. And we have a choice to eat saltine crackers in our stateroom, or we have the ability to be fine dining, enjoying all the entertainment that we deserve because we actually manage the greatest asset that many of our clients will ever have. That's where we belong, and it's our choice as to whether or not we're going to ascend up that ladder and truly become integrators. So, quick invitation, if anybody's interested in being featured in their community with some advisors, we'd love to help you. Just send us an email, we'll walk you through what that looks like. Thank you guys, appreciate the opportunity.